Hi, again. My name is Reverend Robin Achaturo. I'm a licensed clinical social worker of over 35 years, and I'm here to share a little bit more about my book and my tools in my book. So, this is my book, my second book. I am the Reluctant Messiah, and so are you. And the first chapter actually begins on in my first job out of grad school in 1989 on a locked adult psych unit in a hospital in Chicago. Um, in 1987, while I was doing my clinical internship at Rush Medical Center in Chicago, which, by the way, is where Chicago Med is supposed to be, at the Bowman Center where I was, which is the geriatric hospital there, I began to have prophetic dreams about a patient of mine that scared the daylights out of me because they didn't stop. I had two in a row, and they came true right before my eyes, and it was frightening because the outcome was my patient passed away and had to be taken off of a ventilator. So I had to seek answers to why this was happening, and I really didn't want this responsibility. So my husband and I sought answers through a spiritualist center in the United States and took classes and found a mentor, Reverend Sally Wales in Chicago, and studied metaphysics and I realized the first time in Sally's class where we were told to give a clairvoyant message to the person on our left, I was stunned, because we use these senses all the time, but no one ever taught us what they're called. And once we claim our spiritual senses and name them and know what they are, we can use them, and then life becomes pretty different as we raise our vibration and learn how to operate our bodies and use these senses. So my book does teach this, and it opens on a locked psych unit because after I graduated, when I went to, my husband and I had been to the spiritualist camp in Indiana and taken classes, and while I was on the unit, a bipolar gentleman who had been on the unit before, but this was my first time as a new graduate as his psychiatric social worker, instead of me doing a psychosocial assessment on him the first time I met him one-on-one, he gave me a very accurate clairvoyant reading of my life. And that's how the book begins. So why am I qualified to share these tools? Because in a way, I will say the universe has kind of dragged me kicking and screaming sometimes, because the power of having your own instrument be a vehicle for the Christ consciousness to work through, and it took me a while to learn that that's what this energy is, and that's what it is and how it works. Is the more we heal our heart of trauma and heal our feelings, and feelings are the key, then we can really shift the heaviness in our heart to a higher vibration, because anger and sadness and depression, as I share in my book, are really just ways of coping with hurt and loss. And we could put labels on things like bipolar and borderline personality disorder. In my opinion, when we go back to the basics of really these 5 feelings in a nutshell, and we go back and feel our feelings to heal ourselves, we can reverse the chemicals in our brain that have built up to cause these symptoms that we have that are now being labeled to help us cope with them. Well, the truth is, if we kind of go backwards and heal and deal with it now, who we are, not as who we were as traumatized young people or children or even in the womb. That's how we start to make a huge difference in our own lives. So I hope that this helps. I will be sharing more. So again, thank you for listening, and I'll just say quickly that we're the observer. We're the observer. We're a spirit operating this body, similar to how a 4-stroke cycle combustion engine operates a car. Our body's like our car. And our spirit, this patient on the psych unit who was a master auto mechanic, I studied with him incognito. No one knew I was studying, and came up with a theory that's pretty basic but pretty profound, that shares how we operate using this 4-stroke cycle combustion engine and our spiritual and our physical senses together. So, sounds complicated, but it's really not. All right, we will see you again. Thanks for watching.